Okay, good morning everyone, or good afternoon rather. Thank you for joining. I'm muting everybody now, but I think the best way to handle this is I'll keep you guys all on mute for the presentation, and then at the end, I'll unmute you all. So if you have any questions, please kind of keep it towards the end of the session. I think that's probably the simplest way to go about it. Okay, so we'll get underway now. Alrighty, so thank you so much for coming along today. My name is Simon Daniels. I'm here with Nikki at ipSCAPE, and I guess the purpose of today's session is to take you through the new ipSCAPE Pay product offering that we have. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about, I guess, the reason for PCI and the reason why we've kind of put this into our product roadmap. I'll talk through the features. Nikki will do a demonstration of the product. And then at the end, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. I think probably the simplest way to do questions, given that the audio is a bit tricky, is for you to write them into the questions. And then on the conclusion of the session, I'll kind of go through them as a bit of a Q&A, sort of answering them as we go. So I guess what we'll do is we'll just kick off quite generally in terms of sort of PCI. The new product, ipSCAPE Pay, enables your agents to make payment transactions using credit card information over the phone in a secure, compliant manner while maintaining voice communication with the customer. And that's really the key difference, because in the past we have had sort of IVR PCI payments where essentially the agent would shuttle the caller into a sort of self-managed IVR solution where they could, enter in their credit card details, and then on the conclusion of that, come back to the agent. The feedback that we had from clients was that wasn't the best customer experience, because if the customer had trouble or they were concerned during that process, there was no way for the agent to know until the customer came back, and then often they would have to send them back into the IVR and go through the process again. So the new solution essentially has the agent with the customer as they go through that process. So they can answer any questions as they go. So I guess in terms of the ipSCAPE Pay solution, I've got a little bit of a diagram there that kind of talks about what traditional call centers do, what the payment gateway does, which I've just mentioned, and what ipSCAPE Pay does as a point of difference. So traditionally, as you know, call center agents would just take the credit card number from the customer verbally, enter it into whatever CRM that they had, and then sometimes, if possible, do a real-time transaction so they would be able to tell the customer that it went through. Unfortunately, having the agent handling that credit card information was always going to be a security risk. And now with the new regulations that have sort of came into effect in February, which meant that there was a lot of rigor around the way that that credit card information was received and stored, that solution was just not tenable for a lot of clients going forward. So the IVR payment system, which is essentially what was a stopgap, allowed, as you can see here, the customer calls in and then they get put into an IVR automatically, either because they were self-serving a payment or because the agent transferred them into an IVR system where, via prompts, the customer would essentially enter in their credit card information and get a voice response which said it was successful or not. We had, as I said, a lot of feedback that was not the best customer experience. So what we've done is we've developed ipSCAPE Pay. So customer calls in, the operator asks for the credit card number, the customer inputs the credit card number via the system. The agent just hears a single tone every single time, but the agent will actually see the number enter as it appears. Well, not the actual number, but they will see the fact that the system has retained and that particular information. The operator then can submit it and get a real-time response as to whether or not that payment has been authorized. The next screen illustrates this a little bit more clearly. So you can see in the bottom right corner, that's what the system actually looks like. So a reference number is provided, usually by linking to the CRM. The customer enters the information, and you can see there all but the last 4 digits are blanked out. The expiry date goes in, the CVV number goes in, cardholder's name and the amount. And the token is for essentially repeat payments. So a token is provided to the CRM, which allows for future payments to be made in a PCI fashion. So I guess this screen really is designed to show you what the benefits are. I mean, it is a very quick deployment. We have a release going out tonight, which will have this new feature in it. So if it is something that you are interested in, then have a chat with your account manager and we can deploy it within a couple of days or a couple of weeks. The X factor in that deployment timetable is based on the merchant facility that you have. If it's a merchant facility we already have in place, then it will take a couple of days. If it's one that we need to work with your merchant on, then it may take a couple of weeks depending. In terms of the commercials, it is a per transaction feature, so there's no setup cost. It really is just if you use it, pay for it. If you don't, you won't. And again, it's designed to make sure the customer experience is clean and straightforward. So the customer can take their time, enter in the information, and the agent can provide real-time feedback as they're going through this. And it's PCI in two ways. One is it separates the agent from the credit card number, but also it's about the storage of that credit card information. So the credit card information is not actually stored in ipSCAPE, nor is it stored in the client CRM. In real time, it goes away and essentially validates the credit card number, processes the transaction, and if required, a token is provided to the CRM for future payments. So the credit card number itself is not stored in any system that either ipSCAPE has or that the client has as part of their CRM. If it is accepted, it will come back with payment accepted and provide a code and a reference number, which can be provided directly to the customer and also stored into the CRM. If it has failed, it'll come back with the reason for the failure, whether it be insufficient funds or there is a problem with the card or the expiry date or whatever it might be. Okay. So this page really just summarizes the key benefits. Firstly, it's agent assisted. It can be done with a self-serve payment, it's supposed to say. Tokenization allows for repeat payments. Pre-authorization puts a temporary hold on the funds that lasts for 5 days. Real-time purchase, so transactions can happen in real time. And the financial institution configuration. We are a financial institution agnostic, which essentially means we work with any financial institution. All we need is the merchant details to make that work. And it works globally. In terms of CRM integration, we're able to populate the reference number back into the CRM along with the token. And we can provide a reference number from your CRM into the payment, which will appear on the customer's transaction record. Okay. So what I'd like to do now is actually just show you what this looks like in real life. Okay. So Nikki is going to essentially talk us through the process that the customer will go through, and what we will see is the agent screen. Okay. So at the moment you can see the toolbar on the screen. So we're logged into an inbound campaign. We're going to receive an inbound call, and I'll show you where this sits within the system. Okie dokie. So you can see here you've got the same customer information down the bottom here, showing you the number. The new feature is the services tab. So during the period, during the part of the call where the transaction needs to be made, all they need to do is click initiate payment. And this screen appears here. So if there is integration with the CRM, the reference number will be populated by the CRM, so it maps against whatever customer record you have. And we can lock this down so the agent can't edit it. But for now, we'll just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as a reference number. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to ask the customer to actually type in their credit card number.
So the agent moves the mouse into the credit card field and asks the agent to enter the digits over their, ask the customer to enter the digits over the phone. I'm just entering in a 16-digit credit card number there, and you can see that based on that first digit, the customer's recognized the type of card, and we've captured 16 digits. The agent then asks the client for the expiry date and manually enters that in. and then moves the mouse to the CCV and asks the customer to enter that in. So the customer's doing this via the DTMF tones on their phone, and what the agent is hearing is the same single-digit tone, so they couldn't possibly detect what those digits are. And then the agents will ask the customer for their name and the amount. If we just put $54 in, 00. And the test button, that's actually to initiate that transaction. And assuming everything goes okay, we get a payment accepted with the transaction and a receipt number from your financial institution. And obviously, if it was rejected, we'd have a reason why, insufficient funds, or refer to the card vendor, card stolen, whatever it might be. And that's pretty much it.
Should we show a rejection?
We can. I'll hang up. Let's go ahead and wrap that call as a successful payment, and we'll make another inbound call. Okay.
So initiate
So let's
payment.
repeat the process. Yeah, let's repeat the process. Oh, this is going to be an invalid number.
Okay, and I'll put in expiry date of, same again.
Now you can see, yeah, okay.
Oh.
$54.01. And test button. Payment rejected, refer to card issuer.
Okay.
And yeah, there might be other messages in there like insufficient funds and so on.
Yeah. So essentially, as you can see, it's designed to make sure that the client, the customer, has the ability to kind of ask questions and get some shepherding through that process. Transaction happens in real time. None of the credit card information is stored on our system or your system. If repeat payments are required, a token number is provided which can be used for future transactions. That information can be stored on your system. So, and finally, I guess as I mentioned, this is available today. So it goes live tonight. If this is something that you would like to implement, then as I said, have a conversation with your account manager, probably Eugene, and he can talk about the setup process. There's no cost for implementation. It really is a per transaction basis. The details on the fees and charges, Eugene can take you through, but that's essentially it. So happy to answer any questions that you guys might have now. Okay.
Yes, yes, you can.
So multiple entries on one call?
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. So basically you do one payment and then you just open it up again.
Repeat. Yeah, repeat.
And do it again. Are ipSCAPE PCI compliant? So this technology is PCI compliant. How it's used within your organization is up to you, but this technology definitely addresses a couple of the key points, which is the storage of PCI, credit card information, and agent handling of credit card information. As you all know, there are a number of other requirements that sit within PCI that this doesn't address because it's more about business process, but those are the two components that it's designed to address. What CRMs are support, or is there a linked knowledge base article? So the usual customers that we have are the Salesforce, Zendesk, and ServiceNow. If there are other CRMs required, then we can work with those, providing that they are cloud-based.
It is available on CTI Adapter?
Yes, CTI Adapter. Do you have Ethan customers on this call? If so, can you tell me so I can follow them up? I'm happy to do that later, by all means.
Any other questions? That's it for questions.
Okay. What I'll do is I will send you out a document about PCI and ipSCAPE Pay, which contains everything that we've spoken about today, along with any other questions as well. Can I run a report with the transactions entered? You can, based on the transaction numbers that are produced by the system, which are stored in our CRM, but that's it. That's all that's stored in our CRM. So the date and time, the call information is going to be there, and the associated transaction numbers. Okay. Are we able to process refunds back on the card? No.
It's a payment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CRM has to be cloud-based.
Well, our CTI adapter works, as Simon said, with ServiceNow, Zendesk, and Salesforce. So, yeah, it's those CRMs, and obviously they're cloud-based.
Yeah. So the ipSCAPE system, as you know, is cloud-based. If somebody is using the ipSCAPE system, they're able to use this ipSCAPE Pay feature. The question around integration has to do with the reference number within your CRM talking to ipSCAPE, so that we have a link between your CRM record and the transaction that occurs within ipSCAPE. So that piece, if it's a cloud-based solution, then yep, absolutely we can do it. If it's not a cloud-based solution, then there may be a way to do it through web services. That's more of a broader conversation though. So it's possible, depends on your CRM. Okay, I think that's it. So I'll send around a copy of the presentation that I've used, along with a PDF document which outlines all the features of ipSCAPE Pay. If you have any further questions, feel free to follow up on my email, which you will receive. And yeah, we'll have a conversation. And by all means, feel free to talk to any of the account team, Eugene. We're happy to talk to you about commercials. As I said, it's purely transaction only, no setup fees or charges. Okay. Well, thank you all very much. I appreciate taking time out of your day. Can be busy, can be challenging. So thanks again.